let's get into this. We're going to predict what we think we're going to see against Newcastle in the semi-final of the EFL Cup. We'll also do what we want to see and what we think Arteta's going to go with. Before we start, I do want to read out to you the team that faced Newcastle at the start of this season. Just quickly, David Raya in goal. Right back was Thomas Partey. Centre back pairing of Saliba and Gabriel. Left back was Jurien Timber. Midfield in the defensive midfield was Declan Rice and Mikel Merino, and then Trossard was playing in the 10, Saka on the right, Gabriel on the left, Martinelli that is, and Kai Havertz up top. So there was no Odegaard and there was no Ben White. It's maybe similar to this one. I think Odegaard will be back, but he will be obviously kick out some minutes. He wasn't great against Brighton, but we'll probably have to put him in this 11 that we're going to predict. But let's get straight into it. I don't know if that changes anything for anyone. Just reading out that team.
No.
It's still quite a good team to face Newcastle. Shame we didn't win that game.
Not as bad as I remembered it, but Saka obviously out's a big one.
Yeah.
And now we know Waneri's out because Arteta was pretty dramatic in the press conference about it. So we hope it's not too serious because he made it sound like it was pretty serious. What should we do? Should we both, Raya's got to start, hasn't he?
Yeah, Raya in goal, of course.
I mean, Neto cannot play. Like he's legally not allowed to.
Yeah. Is there any way? Sorry, now when it's definitely a muscular. I know that all reports of muscular injury and the way Arteta said it, but no, he's not. He was never taking him off to protect him to say he was injured, is he? It's not that he took him off early because of the yellow card. And he just said, I'm not going to even go with that. I'm going to go with.
It would have been quite an Arteta thing to just give Martinelli the second half. 1-0 up, something to protect, get the really hard-working winger out there, with fresh legs. Yeah. But I don't think he'd lie and say... He might have said, Ethan felt something, but hopefully he's okay. He might have said that, but to say, it doesn't look good, we've lost him. I mean, that's like... just kick me while I'm down, Mikel.
Yeah, that's how it felt when I heard the news when I was down there. But okay, so muscular injury, but Raya in goal, right back...
Timber.
Yeah, has to be.
Saliba and Gabriel...
And can we stop getting yellow cards for time wasting, please?
Yeah.
Listen, huge respect to Jurien Timber. He's come back from an ACL. He's playing way more minutes because of White and Tomiyasu's injuries. And huge respect to him. Right back, left back, whatever we ask him to do, bomb me up and down that pitch. And the fact that he doesn't look like he skipped a beat from the ACL, I couldn't say enough good things about Jurien Timber. Yeah. But he missed a big game because he time wasted on a throw-in. And I think he's picked up 2 yellow cards for that.
He has.
This needs to stop. Waneri did it and it killed momentum, as we mentioned in the preview. Can we please stop this? In the 75th minute, I get it, but please stop now. It's killing our momentum as much as it's costing us players in big games.
Calafiori's done it as well. And do you know what? At first, I used to blame the refs. Stop. Relax. We're going to throw the ball.
They could just add it on, but also they need to clamp down it to a point.
No, they do.
My God, get the game.
They do.
Going.
And again, I
think it's a bit of naivety from Arteta across the season. There's been certain things he's latched onto that I find weird. I get the set piece thing, but let's take it back earlier to the season when it was, very much a topic of conversation. For us Arsenal fans, we love it, but we always say, had to have that threat, mix it up with good threat on the ground, and then you've got a great, great attack there because you can threaten it in multiple ways and angles. It just feels like Arteta grabbed those headlines and we got a man down against Bournemouth and he says, "Yep, we're gonna lock it all up and then we're gonna just see what we can get into the box." And then there's been other games since where we might need a goal in the end. And what was the game? 36 crosses or whatever else. It feels like he latches on to some of these things, and it's a bit of naivety in my opinion.
It's frustrating.
I think he's latched onto the whole set piece thing as well. It doesn't help that we're painting the fucking guy on the tunnel because we've scored a few set pieces. He's asked about it in the press conferences, and that instead of being asked about, you ain't got a striker, mate, what's going on? He's being asked about Jova's fucking corner and shit. And it feels like he's playing into it more than he should instead of trying to fix what isn't working. People are getting onto us for the set pieces and stuff like that because it is working. As Arsenal fans, we love that, but we don't want our manager to focus on that. We want him to focus on what isn't working, to complement what is working. And I feel like he's gone too far down this route, hence why we are so stale and stiff and lack imagination and creativity. I mean, we can all talk about the players, but it stems from Mikel.
But I'll be honest, I think it's his character. That's just how he is. Every interview I hear from players is he's so meticulous. Not every detail is looked at in the game. And funny enough, I used to get annoyed watching Arsenal and throw-ins. we used to be terrible, absolutely terrible. Whether they're foul throws or we'd just throw the ball back to the opposition, and teams would counter us. Now, I agree with you when you said I think it's just gone too far the other way. I think now we're so focused on little things. We must have brought in a throwing coach, and now they're saying slow it down, make sure everyone's prepared. And from my opinion, watching as a fan, it's killing our momentum. It is. I think we're very good at. I still watch Liverpool United. They're quick throws. It's a throw-in. Like, yeah, you want to keep the ball, but sometimes you need to move fast, react fast, catch a team, asleep. Even quick free kicks. We don't really do that anymore. We hone in on this is the moment. This moment counts. Slow it down. Make sure we're all ready. And it's frustrating for me. I do enjoy our scoring from set pieces. I'm not going to take away from that, but I think sometimes it's just gone, like you mentioned, gone too far. Maybe the other way. Sometimes a throw-in just needs to be a throw-in. Just react fast, throw it down the line quickly. But that doesn't seem to happen in our game anymore, which is becoming a frustration. We do need to speed up on throw-ins because we're getting silly at the cards, which allows players that we need out of the game.
But yeah, Timber right back.
Timber right back. Sleever and Gabriel. Said about parents.
Left back's interesting.
Lewis Skelly, man.
Yeah, I'd go Lewis Skelly. Yeah.
Bring him in, man.
Against Anthony Gordon.
Nah, Gordon's the other side.
Murphy.
Murphy, yeah.
It doesn't matter though, anyway, because Lewis Skelly.
I've seen Gordon on the right though.
Calafiori's defensive side of things is in question, so it's not like.
I actually think Lewis Skelly is a better fit for this game. Against at home, I kind of tried to make this argument for Calafiori the other week with being away and that, and I think he did all right, Calafiori, when he stepped in. But I think Lewis Skelly playing this game makes sense. It eradicates what you thought about the teenagers as well, both playing. It's unlikely Ethan Wenier is not going to be available because he's obviously injured with muscular injury. So it makes sense putting him in there. I don't think it'll be a big game for him. There will be a lot of physical players on that pitch as well, so he's just got to be up for it. But I don't see Lewis Skelly ever shying away from the physicality. If I'm honest, I saw him back Gabriel and that, so he's up for it. So I think that's the right choice. Left back, midfield for me Partey has to start in this midfield. I think we struggle if he doesn't. I back Mikel Merino, by the way. I want to, stands by him and think give him time or not. But I think in this midfield, I think it has to be Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. That's our strongest midfield. I think you need that. I'm not looking at the Man United game.
I think it is going to be Partey, Rice, Odegaard, and I think that is what I'd go for. I think there's a slight argument for Merino because if you want to match their physicality,
height, fair.
He does bring that to the game, probably a touch more than Partey, but Partey brings you more on the ball. Then there's a question of what you do with Rice. Do you want him as the 6 or the 8? But I was saying for Arsenal that I think the key is to try and grab hold of this midfield, not let the physicality become a part of the game. Basically, if they want to be physical in Newcastle, let them concede fouls and run all over you, basically. I'd rather that than them actually bullying us off the ball and dominating the space. And I think to gain control, you're going to need Lewis Skelly coming into midfield and getting on the ball. You're going to need Partey playing the kind of game he played against Brentford. I think there's an argument for Merino, but I would ultimately go with Partey, Rice and Odegaard.
Midfield for you, Turkish.
When we go through the midfield, it upsets me, man, because it just goes back to the squad building again.
It's not a bad midfield we have though, surely.
We've got good individuals, but no balance whatsoever. Yeah. Where's our Tielemans or Morgan Rogers in that midfield? Where are they? Name me the player that's most like them. We don't have that profile. Crazy. Crazy. Tielemans went for free a couple of years ago. I think when we bought Havertz that year. Morgan Rogers gone for what, 7 mil or something? He went for, I don't know what, maybe. Yeah.
I think Tielemans is quite a bad example. I don't really rate Tielemans. I think that's a bad example. Morgan Rogers, I understand.
Tielemans is a better 8 than we've had, mate. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you rate him or not. If you don't rate him and then you've rated some of the players in the 8 for us over the last 2 years,
I think Xhaka was better in his last season than Tielemans was in those seasons that he was. Of recent, in my opinion, I think Xhaka did more for us and was a better player than what Tielemans was, in my opinion, in that 8 in the last 2 seasons. But that might be
profile-wise, though. Turkish is right in terms of like
Morgan Rogers. I hear
Tielemans is an 8 who gets on the ball and plays, and I think Odegaard is maybe our close thing to Tielemans. I agree. But the problem is we deploy more as a 10 than anything,
because we don't have that. That's what I mean about the options in midfield. And
then Rogers is a guy who runs
horse.
Into space, he commits defenders, and he causes havoc through pure ball carrying and power. And we don't have that in the squad, let alone in midfield. Like, we just don't have that player whatsoever.
Oh, the 25 million one that's missing this game that we was apparently interested in that January when we was chasing 75 Lahovic. Didn't Newcastle get Guimaraes for 25 mil?
Guimaraes, yeah.
So many have gone in the last few years, and you just look at it and think that those profiles are exactly what this midfield's missing. We don't even have one of them to mix it up in the right way. We're going Rice, Partey, Odegaard because it's like a default.
Well,
It was the first three we've had under Arteta that we thought this three can be the midfield. But I don't think at the end of last season there was meant to be one added into that. And we failed to do that correctly. That's why I was saying, all right, tough game, best midfield. It's the same three from 18 months ago.
Can Declan Rice not get to that profile? I feel like he doesn't do it. I know he doesn't do that now, but
he hasn't got the attack. He hasn't got the... You see when Yeri picks up the ball, his first touch is going, you know where he wants to go with that first touch, or his body feint or movement.
Yeah.
A lot of eights have that. Sometimes you get an 8 that's more defensive minded, and when Rice does it, I think that is more in his head, but he adds something to attack. But sometimes you get 8s that are more like 10s. Yeah. And that's where we lack options in the midfield, where you can play 1-6 and 2 8s, or 1-6 and a flary 8 with a 10. You know, I even think this impacts Marino's integration into the side, because look, he plays last time out, poor performance, but who does he play with in the midfield? No one that can really take attention away from him. You know,
Rice's biggest issue is that he's so good at almost everything. He can drive forward. He's actually got a really decent strike on him. He can attack the back post. He's good in the air. He can get back. He can attack the channels pretty well. He's got a really good cross on him, we've now learned. Like, there's actually so much he can do, Declan Rice, that we kind of think, well, for this game, we need you to do this, we need to do that. I've been saying since the summer that it's great for the first year or two. You've got a player who can do a little bit of everything. But long term, I think, when Liverpool were at their best, Fabinho was the 6 and only the 6. Only when they had a defensive injury crisis that he moved back. Rodri, Fernandinho were City's 6s. Busquets was Barcelona's 6. Now, I know I've just mentioned some great 6s there. Yeah. We spent 105 million on Declan Rice. I'd like to think we hope he can become a great 6. I think he already is the best ball-winning midfielder in the world. I long-term think he needs to be there. Now, I get it. When Partey's in this form, there's a problem there because Rice hasn't been amazing this season. And okay, but I think long-term, we've got to pick a position for him and let him actually grow into that.
And it has to be 6 because he's not good enough.
I think it has to be 6. Jordan made a great point in Forever Arsenal that even Gundogan wasn't amazing in his first season at City, and that was in the 8 position. You know, it's not meant to be that easy to just pick it up and run with it and be everything you're meant to be. But my word, give them the best opportunity at it. Okay, but I would play a mate for this.
You will, yeah.
And the midfield, Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. But
could you imagine Rice, Tielemans, Odegaard, or Rice, Bruno Guimaraes, Odegaard, or Partey, Rodgers, Odegaard?
We've always wanted.
You're already feeling a bit more. We've got something in that midfield where
Tielemans, but yeah, I think
Even
Rodgers,
if you framed it as, you know, say next season's options, Rice and Partey were your 2 DMs, Marino and a new 8. And listen, okay, whether you're overwhelmed or underwhelmed by Marino, however you're feeling about him, that's really not a bad option as a second number 8. He's done enough for me to think he can play a part in the squad. And then it's a case of Odegaard, Waneri. I personally think we need another profile in the squad, a more natural creator.
Arda Güler would be good.
Like, the Danny Olmo type that's been mentioned.
Yeah, a bit more physically.
But, you know, you're kind of going, wow, okay, there's really good options there. Also, I'm miles off. But these are big players.
When we talking about Arteta wanting a lone 6 and 2 creative players in front of him from way back, I'm sure he's
honestly, I'm at the stage where I don't know if Mikel knows what he wants.
I agree. I don't think he knows.
You know, it's back to it feels like it's back to the learning stage again, and with a bit of stubbornness and ego added in because of the close success he found in the last 2 years. It's worrying. It's worrying times.
I think he's got his dream midfield. And then he's got the evidence of what's worked. And all those years he tried Smith Rowe Odegaard with Rice behind, or Smith Rowe Odegaard with Partey behind, getting Vieira in the left 8 with Odegaard and a Rice. I think all the years of watching that, I don't think we've ever put in a good performance with 2 10s in the 8s. I don't think we've never put in a convincing performance.
That's what we thought his dream. That's
why I went and picked up a Marino, because he went, oh no, I need the closest thing I can find to Xhaka, 6'1" left footer, who's around 28 years old, who's got some Premier League experience. And, you know, it's incredible how... I'm not saying Marino is Xhaka, but if you look at their profiles, incredibly similar. And the way he tries to use them, incredibly similar. So I think he is really wrestling with what his vision and his dream is and what he has seen work. But when Pep Guardiola did it,
With
it was De Bruyne,
and
David Silva,
Yeah, I was literally just about to go
and
to that.
Fernandinho, Rodri at the base, mainly Fernandinho. But De Bruyne and David Silva, I'm not joking. You're talking about
They are
two of the Premier League's best ever midfielders.
Facts.
It's like it's
facts.
incredible, like the options they have.
Because I was going to say, what's the example of it, and that's what came straight to my head. And I feel like, because I was going to say, the Premier League's not ready for that. You need physicality as well as technical ability in those positions. But then, like you said, Pep has done it. But again, they are the best. And you reminded me that Mikel Merino's playing against his old side. Well, if he plays, which I'm sure he'll get minutes, which is interesting. Okay, that's the midfield discussion.
So we agree, Odegaard, Partey, Rice.
Yeah, it's gonna.
I think that's just the safest way to
default.
go. It is.
It feels like the default.
But it's the best midfield options.
No,
I
but
think we
you're
have.
mistaking default for me being negative about it.
No, I know.
It's the one that
Oh,
we
there's
most
not- I
believe
hear.
in.
Yeah.
So it
'Cause we
feels
haven't
like
addressed-
if
we
we
didn't
have a
get
bit
someone.
of trouble, that's the default there. That's what I mean by it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
We didn't really. No, I don't want to say addressed it in summer or anything because we need a striker right now. Let's go to the front three. Wow.
Well, I'll fly in with this actually, if that's okay.
Yeah, of
I
course.
just think,
I'm now looking at options. It's scarce.
I'll get Jesus out to the right. There's no one else who plays that position. Well, it was Saka then Waneri. They're both out. I'll get Jesus out there. Havertz. I mean, I'll be slightly worried about him if he's ill for another. We'll be approaching a week now. Hopefully he's recovered. I'll get him up front because I think you're going to have to give those Newcastle defenders something to think about. And I would get Martinelli on the left. So you've at least got some pace out wide and a little bit of presence up front, and someone who actually has shown he can put the ball in the back of the net. I'd go for that three, and Trossard would sit out for me.
Trossard being rotated for you dropping him because of his performance.
Do you know, I don't think he was the worst against Brighton, if I'm really honest. I know the attack did nothing. I didn't think he was disastrous. But he's just not a touchline winger, so he's rarely going to be his fullback. Okay, he can sometimes. And I wouldn't put him up front over a Jesus or Havertz right now. So that's my three.
Is that a fair front three? Jesus, Havertz and Martinelli? I'd say Sterling.
Yeah.
Like
Sterling should be back soon.
Sterling should be back. I'm sure it's a small... No one hears Sterling's name. All right. I'm just saying it's an option.
Is it?
I don't,
Tell Mikel that then, innit? Because he didn't use him much in the first half of the season. Don't tell me that.
Okay. Jason.
Did you buy that Jamaica tracksuit when he landed?
No, I didn't. I didn't get that one.
Okay.
Thank God.
I'm sure a few sales came off the back of that.
For you telling me to do a welcome video for it.
I forgot we had him.
Because it's
Do you know, I genuinely forgot we had him. When you said someone, did you just mention Sterling?
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh yeah.
No, yeah, because
it just completely escaped my.
Because he should be back. But I don't know.
No, Arteta never. Arteta said he's out for an extended period. No.
No, he did say in one of his last press conferences that he's close.
Who cares anyway, Mikel, man? Don't stop, man. I'm not an idiot, man. Who cares if Sterling's back or not? Like, who gives a shit? What journalist asked him that?
Well, this is the
honestly.
This is the cup competition where he's been playing in. So I thought,
Yeah, against Preston and Bolton, mate. Yeah, this is Newcastle semi-final.
That says all.
I hear you, but we are scraping.
Yeah,
We need
of course
something.
we are.
We need something.
Our options are mint are bare.
Raheem, rise, please. We need. He said he said when he arrived, you're going to see the best of me. I would like even.
I actually bought into that massively as well.
Even if we just get 60% of that, please. We need something.
I was arguing this on transfer on the deadline day. Like, if we just get just a fraction of that of what we saw, in these peak days at City.
Even if he's just pure pace. Even if he's just tap-ins at the back post. I need something, Raheem.
We don't even play like that for him to.
We don't.
I think Arteta. Yes, I was to say Arteta wouldn't even allow him to play like that. Anyway, so are you happy with? What
Yeah. I'm not happy, but yeah.
I mean, there's not really many other options.
Shame is moving Jesus to the right. That's the shame. But I'd rather do that than move Martinelli to the right, where... Let me say something about Martinelli, okay? He really is a head-down winger. Yeah. He really is I've made the decision, I'm going to run, I'm going to go. And I obviously have no idea what it's like playing that position at that level. But some wingers, when they're running with the ball, they look like they know they could go right or left. And they're just waiting to see what the defender does. They're constantly like, I could go right, I could go left. Let's see how I work the situation.
He's Brazilian.
Martinelli looks to me like he's made the decision. I'm going down. I'm going down the left. I'm going on the outside, and I have to commit to this. And that is slightly concerning for a winger, because if I think you look like that, the fullback's going to think you look like that, right? And when he's on the left, at least he can go on the inside, and he's not bad going the outside. But when he's on the right, he's never going to cut in onto his left foot. It just closes the angles too much when he's running into traffic. So on the right, he's attacking down the outside. And you know what? Against Ipswich, when he had, I think he had the beating of Leif Davis and whoever it was a few times, and he did okay, whipped some decent balls into the box. When that's sussed out, you get nothing from him on the right. So I'd rather have him on the left, where he's actually got a few goals recently, and move Jesus out there, because I think Jesus has looked more secure with the ball and a little bit more inventive out there than anybody else.
It's fun. I'm such a big fan of Martinelli. I've even got his shirt on my wall and that. Like, I'm such a big fan.
I love the guy.
But he's a Brazilian that just doesn't.
Why are you such a big fan, and why do you love the guy?
I tell you why. But genuinely Turkish, and I know people say, well, it's a given or whatever. That guy like gives his all on the pitch. Like, he really does. Like, having a stinker, having a great game, whatever it is, he is like fighting. He's up the pitch to try score. He's back to track back. He's following runners. He doesn't shy away from a tackle. And even when he's having a bad game, because he's trying, not because he's shying away, because he's trying to make things happen. It's just not happening for him. So I look at him, a guy who came in for 6 million out of the 4th division in Brazil or whatever. His story's mad. He had a great start, and you know what? He has been a lightning winger in one of the best Arsenal sides I've seen for a while. But he's fallen off for so long. The thing is, I don't think his application and attitude has disappeared. And so I respect that up to a point, but not to the point where I don't want to replace him and get in another player, because ultimately quality is what's going to tell. But I'll always respect that he's trying, because we always say this on Forever Arsenal. I saw the gutter years. I saw players that didn't look like they cared. Yeah. And that was, you looked at these players like, come on, you're living our dream. And for all Martinelli's struggles, I've never looked at him and thought, you're not trying.
And he just, for me, I know he's not a Haaland boy, but it just felt like he came through with that crop with the Sakas and Smith Rowe, and I bought into a young player really coming from, like you said, the Division 4 in Brazil, and what that 6. He's had a great season building up to it. That 16 goal or 15 goal season he done. I was just like, yes, this is it. Sadly, he didn't kick on from that, but like, I think he's a quality. I thought he was a quality player.
And he showed up in the run-in when everyone else shit the bed. You know, that was 22, 23, but he did. You know, there's the moments that I think he's got so much of the right ingredients, but something really fundamental's missing, and I think he has been a bit found out.
Yeah, and it's different. It's different to what I see about Jesus is Brazilian, but he has this trickery. Martinelli doesn't really have that. Is that head down and run? It's funny. Same with like Newcastle, Joe Linton. He's Brazilian, bro. These men haven't got the qualities that I'm used to seeing from Brazilian players. But you know, it is what it is. But Martinelli. So you was a big. I think you still.
I was a fan.
Yeah, he was used to be.
Yeah, but I've been I mean, I feel like we caveat a lot of our opinions. If Lee Judges does it a lot on Forever. I'm a big fan of Havertz, but I love Mikel, but we tend to do this a lot because, you know, there's always that divide in the fan base, and sometimes I just don't get it. So I just wanted to ask, like, what is it about Martinelli? Because I'm getting more and more frustrated every time I see him, to the point where I think he's frustrated. When you see him the other day, with seconds remaining, and he's trying to get a yellow card for the opposition by throwing the ball at the back of his head. That just, you know, I'm sorry, but
infuriated me, that Fulham
Wally, absolute Wally. So listen, I 2 years ago I said my favourite player, but at the end of the day, I'm not emotionally connected to the point where 2 years later I'm still holding on to what he done 2 years ago. We've got to move on. But you're right, 6 million. I guess if we recruited it adequately, properly in the window, he might be our backup left winger, and he might be in a much better place being our backup left winger. 6 million from Brazilian third tier. But instead, he's 6 million Brazilian third tier, but he's been a starter for us for 3 years. That's a difference. Maybe it's not on him. He shouldn't have been starter. He does work hard. But as Roy Keane says, it's your job, mate.
It's a good way to put it. Right, well, that is the front.
So we agree with that.
Field. Yeah.
Jesus, Havertz, Martinelli.
Yeah. Because I even
that's one player off last season. That's one player off last season starting front three. Like, I'm not going to make really any excuses for Arsenal.
No.
Because assuming Ødegaard and Havertz are well enough to start, we're Saka away from our first 11. Like, come on. My expectations are that Arteta goes strong, takes his game seriously, and we beat Newcastle. They're very good. They're in good form. Cool. But if missing Saka, like missing Ødegaard, is going to make our level drop that much, we've got bigger problems than winning a Carabao Cup.
That front three's fair because even if Sterling's available and fit, he doesn't come in for Jesus in that right position.
I had him and Trossard on the bench. Wow, we can actually bring on some attackers.
Wow. Well, that's it for the Minute to 11 video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and like the video if you like the video. We'll see you again very soon. Take care, people. Sorry, people.
For someone that I don't know, man.
No,
you're,
I don't like
you're a
that.
gassy guy, like.
Yeah, man. But I don't smell. I don't smell.
What do you eat though?
That calf, man.
It's not that calf, bro. We all eat calf. And we're not out here farting and burping.
I know my
like.
chest has been a bit mad today. Sorry, it doesn't smell though.
It does. I didn't say it. If it was smelling, that'd be a different argument, tone even. But it's just weird, bro. You just bare gas. You're 29. Like, what's wrong with you, man?
I'm a child, man. Let me live.